Oh, this might be easier than I thought. Yep, that's it. Oh, this is never coming out here. Oh, okay, there it is. Oh boy, I wasn't ready for that. Okay. Ugh. Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. Please no judgment on the condition of my garage, okay? It's bad. I know it. But I was trying to get to these things. They were so much easier to get to than I thought they were going to be. And the question is, what's in the bag? Well, let's find out. This is stuff from my youngest son's house. He had been doing some remodeling, and his house is 125 or 100, and it's old. It's a really old house. And what do we got happening in here? And he decided to take down the lath from the plaster and lath walls, which I told him right off the rip, you're crazy. But he did it anyway. And then he gave a bunch of it to me. Now, from what I can tell, most if not all of this is oak lath. That's how they built back then. They didn't care. I see saw marks on them, which is cool. And I'm going to make something out of this today. Hopefully. Anyway, some challenges we're going to run into is that I want to keep this look. Okay, I'm going to hit it with a sander and clean it up a little bit, but I want to keep this look, and I'm going to have to glue a panel together. And we're going to have to figure out how to do that. So let me get this unbundled, get a few pieces picked out, and then I'll bring you back in. Okay, I picked out a few pieces. What have we got? 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have no idea if that's enough. I really don't. What I'm going to build is a box, or a box, depending on where you're from. What I'm noticing right off the rip is that there are nail holes, of course, because this needed to be nailed up to the studs so that you could get your plaster and all that niceness on there. That's kind of what it looks like there. Flip it over, that's what it looks on the inside. I mean, the smell is amazing. That's going to sound weird, but the smell is amazing. It smells like a 150-year-old house. It's so cool. But I am eventually going to have to put a dust mask on once I start hitting this with a sander and stuff like that. First thing I want to do is cut pieces, from nail hole to nail hole. That's what I'm going to do to all of these. That'll give me some lengths, and then I'm going to have to find out if I can even glue these into a panel or not. That's going to be the next battle. But first, let's get them on the tired old miter saw. It's not tired. The blade needs cleaned really bad. I cut bull blanks on there. Wet, nasty. And the blade is gummed up terrible. Okay. What are you guys using for safety glasses? Okay, that's my question. I got these Milwaukee's, and I've complained about them before, and I'm going to complain about them again. They are absolutely terrible for the price. I'm thinking of just ordering like the cheap $2 ones on Amazon because I think they work better. Just my opinion. What do I know? We might need the... Oh, if I do that a few hundred more times, then I'll have the pieces I need. Okay, got those all cut. That took a lot longer than I thought. Boxes, height per size, I guess, is something you need to think about, although I don't. I think I'm going to go 4 slats high. Holy cow. Cutting this stuff, I'm sneezing like crazy. That's going to give me 6 inches, but I'm going to have to do something to be able to glue this together, and it's going to involve the joiner. I might end up 5 1/4. That's pretty decent. I think I'll just simply use 1 piece for the lid, which will give me overall close to 7-ish. We're working in ishes today. But I think before I do anything, 1, I'm going to blow my nose. Oh, man. And 2, I'm going to see if I can clean these up a little bit, make them a little bit less hectic to work with. And I got to figure out what I want to use on that. Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me if I put the mask on, but here's what I'm going to try and do. This is a brush that fell off of my golf bag because it knows how bad I suck at golf. It's got a wire brush on one side, plastic on the other. I'm not even going to try the plastic. I'm just going to run across this with the wire brush side. Well, I haven't worn this thing in so long, I forgot how. That wasn't it. What am I doing? What are we? Oh, backwards. Well, now. Okay. Actually, right off the rip, that's not too bad. It cleaned up that pretty well, and it got all that dust off of the backside. I believe this house at one time was heated by coal or wood. So you're going to get a lot of that darkness there. So again, I'm just going to be here, you know, doing my thing. See you in a minute. Okay, got these all not sanded, just hit with a wire brush. And they actually cleaned up really nicely. Wipe my nose, but my hands are filthy. But it's going to be cool. Some neat things I found as you can tell which of this lath was closest to the chimney and which was further away. This particular piece, and I'm not sure if it's going to show up on camera, so I'm not going to do that. The saw marks are running this way on a curve, so they get to this point. That's where they stop. And then they run this way, which tells me that they ran this through a saw so far, probably this direction, ran it through a saw, so their hands got a little bit too close, and then they pulled it back out, flipped it over, and went the opposite direction. I make that cut all the time. So it's just kind of cool. So now I need to start thinking about what size is the box I'm making. I have plenty of material, not to mention everything that's up on the shelf. So I have to start thinking about what size I want to make and how I'm going to glue up the panels, because we're talking about different thicknesses, different widths, and all of these, 150-year-old splinter right there, baby. All of these edges, they're not going to glue together. So I need to figure those kind of things out. Definitely had to put that bad boy in to help with the dust. The other thing I'm going to have to think about is the outside of the box. I don't mind if it's different colors, but I don't want them to be extreme different colors. For instance, that's the outside of one piece, and that's the outside of another. Okay, you can see there's a definite difference there. So I kind of want them to be close, but they don't have to be perfect. So that's another thing I'm going to have to work on as far as getting, like, that looks beautiful to me. They would almost glue up, but they're not going to. Here's what I'm going to do. Got the old benchtop joiner over there. And if you've not seen this trick, why not? That's my question. Why haven't you? You're getting this from me. I'm a hack. You should have seen this somewhere before. What I'm going to do, oh man, is I'm going to number these. I'm going to have two sides. So this is going to be 1A, 1A, 2A, okay. So 1A, I'm simply going to flip them like that, run these through the joiner that way, back to back. That way they are essentially milled together. And when I lay them down, they will glue up perfectly. Now, I also have to do the same with 2 and 3. So even though 1A is done, we're going to slide that up to 2, same thing, run them through the joiner, so on, so forth, whatnot, and things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out the rest of my panels, and then I guess we'll drag out the joiner. Okay, that was only slightly sketchy with the old, fingerets, I don't normally like to get them that close to the blade. And then push blocks, I hate them. Absolutely hate them. To me, they're more dangerous. I could be wrong. Stumpy nubs, you're going to jump all over me. I do have a simple, stupid rule about that. If I know my hands are going to be close, I need to be able to see all 5 of my fingers. Okay? Whatever that looks like. If I can see all 5 of them, I know where they're at. And that way I know my thumb ain't hanging down about to get chewed up. I need to be able to see. It works for me. It's a mental thing. Respect your tools, and they will respect you. So we'll just see how it goes. Sure. Alright, I think we're going to call that one good. We'll get this out of the way and do the other one. I don't know if I'm going to get back out tonight and work on this. Dinner, whatnot. So, let me get the other one glued up, and I will either see you after dinner, probably not, or I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning. Well, it's almost afternoon. Get my Saturday morning ritual, that I got to do. Here's what I've done so far this morning. Got them out of clamps. I did sand the back side of these because I need them to be relatively flat to be able to, do the cuts. They're a little bit too thin to run through the planer, so I can't do anything with that. I've decided that the front side or the outside of the box is going to be rough, uneven, whatever you want to call it. And that's okay. And then on the front side, got all the glue off with a paint scraper, and then actually used that same wire brush, and it really took care of it pretty nice without having to sand. The only place I had to sand duh, was where I wrote my numbers on there. But okay, now what I got to do, I think I'm going to joint one of these edges just to make sure it's flat, because I need to start running this stuff through a saw. So I'm just going to joint one edge on each of these, and then I can start getting, oh, one mistake I did make. The last board was not meant to be glued into this panel. That was going to be a lid, that was going to be a separate piece. So now, as it is, what I'm going to do is build an entire box and then cut it. You know, basically cut the lid where I want it, which is not how I was going to do this, but that's how I'm going to do it now. Do to make sure that these come out the width I want them to, I'm going to put that piece there. I might have to make some adjustments on this. Looks like it's a little bit out of whack. Truth of the matter is I need to just go through the shop one day and just maintenance all the tools. It hasn't been done in definitely well over a year. I think what I want to do is 45 the corners and make this as difficult as possible to make a box, but again, hiding this new cut. So, and this is where I can really screw up bad and put the 45 on the wrong side. Let's try not to do that. It's a good idea. Let me get this set up and then we'll come back in. Got these all 45 semi-successfully. There might be some things we have to address in post, right? Normally if I'm making a box, it's 3/8 probably thick material, maybe a 1/2 inch, and it leaves me room to put splines in to shore up the 45s. I don't have that option here because this stuff is so thin. So what I'm going to do is, I call it a 4-post box. Basically, I'm going to cut little square uprights that these will attach to. That makes sense? And because it's rustic such as it is, I can just pin nail it. You're probably not going to see the holes anyway, but if you do, hey, it's rustic. So I'm going to cut these up into 3/4 inch strips, get them cut to the right size. And remember, I wasn't supposed to glue the top piece to this. So that's going to make it interesting when I have to cut this lid off. That's future Fred's problem. We'll deal with that later. Let me get these cut first. I need 4 of them. Am I going to get 4 out of this? I think so. Is it going to be sketchy on the last cut? Absolutely. Would I have it any other way? Nope. Okay, went ahead and got these cut down to size. Got the old joy of painting up on the TV there. I like to listen to music in the shop, but if I'm recording, I can't. Copyright, don't want that. Not that I'm monetized and care, but you know, why stir the pot? So we got the old Joy painting up there. Besides that, he's so relaxing. I wish I could have met him. Anyways, I'm gonna tell you what, folks, it's a lot easier to build a proper box that's straight. Anyone can build a regular box. This whole building a rustic box where things aren't 100% straight is a bit of a pain in the butt. So doing this project got me thinking about, I helped my son a little bit with his remodel, and we did some math last night. House is 100 and I think we figured 155 to 158 years old. So it's kind of cool. And part of the house is modern stick built, part of it is that old. And in the construction of this, as we're tearing down plaster and lath, the older portion of the house is mortise and tenon construction with wooden pins. No nails in the framing at all. It was the coolest thing. And true 2x4 oak. I was wigging out. It's like, look, this is oak. This is quarter sawn oak they're using. Like, you know, like we worship that today. And that, you know, they're just like, oh, it's another tree. Cut it. Put it in the house. So it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed seeing that. If you think of like Barn Builders, or is that what they're called, the TV show Barn Builders? That's what that portion of his house was. Mortise and tenon. Really cool. So anyway, yeah, lamenting. Okay, I got updates. Had to pull hammer out. It's becoming one of them jobs where if it can go wrong, it can go wrong. The old brad nailer or pin nailer, remember that time I said that I needed to just spend a day and clean everything? I needed to take this thing completely apart, clean it, oil the places that need oiled. It was bad. So 2 hours later, now I'm finally putting this thing together and hoping that I can somehow make it square. That ain't gonna happen. But we're going to try. That's all we can do, right? So basically all I'm doing is gluing this down, making sure it's right, bringing this piece in, making sure it's the right direction, and somehow trying to get these to kind of line up in a square orientation. So that's where I'm at. Look at that. Oh, well, I'll just knock that one out, didn't I? Sure. Yeah, see, that's well, for one thing, I can't get the square in there because I got this big dumb thing in here. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. I think once I get this all four corners together, I'm going to throw my picture frame clamp, the square clamp, whatever you want to call it, and then I'll worry about square from there. So that's a horrible plan, but it's what I got. Okay, here's where I'm at. It's glued up. I did not glue any of the supports in because I was finding that it was throwing everything off. So I glued the 45s, clamped it together. It is surprisingly close to square, but not completely. And all I did was just kind of suck the corners in and throw a nail into that. I am going to put the supports in. I am going to let this sit and dry well before I worry about that. My outside 45s don't look too bad, which was my biggest concern. So what I'm going to do now is glue up some other panels just so I can make a top and a bottom. I might put, I don't know, I might put MDF in the bottom and make the same wood for the top, just to save some of my sanity. I don't know. At least I'm going to glue up one panel anyway. So there's that. I believe I will see you tomorrow after church. Okay, new day. Sunday after church, after lunch, even more important. It is a mellow 90 degrees on its way up to, it's already reached its temperature for the day, and we still got more day to go. It's 1,000 degrees in here. You're going to see sweat, stuff like that. Just know that. Got the window unit in the old window there, and it's just struggling to keep up. Off camera, what I did was I came out, obviously took this out of clamps. I just put my corner supports in. Also took this panel that I glued up off camera out, and that's going to be the top. For the bottom, I'm just going to put in a piece of MDF. This is just a scrap I had up on the shelf. And this is too loud. There we go. And there's a lot of ways to add bottoms to boxes. This is how I do it, and it's actually not a way that I like to do it. I am going to set this on top of said MDF. And then I am essentially going to draw it. Cut it out. And the reason I do it that way is I know this isn't square. And that'll give me a piece that fits exactly in here. So would like my taller pencil for this, but it apparently has gone on vacation. So it looks like we're down to this guy. Try flipping it over. That's a giant gap. Oh, oh, boom, boom. Oh. Okay. For me, for this box, I'm just going to glue this in. Let's, wow. Yeah, that looks amazing. It fits, but it's not happy. Not even a little bit. But you know what? Rustic box, right? Don't put any gold dust in there, and you'll be fine. All right, let's get that glued in. Okay, bottom is glued in. I chased a little bit of a wobble, which is not surprising because, you know, look at what we're working with. Got it sitting pretty flat, which is good. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this the way I originally wanted to, and that is at the bottom of this first board. There is a support in here, which will also support that, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. We're just going to cut it out and make that the lid, and that will hinge and that will fold and do all of that stuff. So, got to flip around, got to turn the air conditioner off again. Woo. Okay, that was terrifying, but we got it. It kept getting hung up because everything's uneven. It kept getting hung up on the saw. But, and I don't think I cut through any nails. Oh, maybe one. But now what this allows me to do is exactly the same thing I did for the bottom. And that is to just put this on here, draw it out, and basically cut it out. The thing, you know what? Here's my mistakes. Here's why here's your problem. First off, Okay, this goes this way. Okay, what I have to do is flip this over, then put this on here and mark it. Go ahead, ask me why that matters. Geometry? I don't know. Okay, because I'm so good at YouTube, I forgot to record a bunch of stuff. Got the bottom in, you saw that. Got the top in, and the way I did the top was I cut it close, and then I just kept hitting it with the sander until it snapped in. And it fits really nice, and it looks really good. And that's great. You knew I was going to do that. But then I got it all fitted for all the hardware, the hinges, the clasp, all of that. Didn't show you that. Sorry. Sue me. No, don't sue me. I got no money anyway. I am down to finish now. And I'm just putting a coat of clear or a couple of coats of clear on this. Because I'm not taking away any of this really cool color. So the next time you see it, it's going to be done. Hopefully. Golly, it's 5:45 already. We'll see what we get done. Okay, folks, there you go. Finished product. Perfectly imperfect. Which is exactly what I wanted. Folks, I appreciate you sticking around with me while I built this. I'll see you on the next one. God bless.